Welcome to Restorative Yoga. We are going to start in a seat. Just come to your seat first. And if you'll notice, we have bolsters, blankets, blocks, straps, all the props we need to support us during this time. And restorative yoga's benefit is to really the nervous system. That's why we do restorative yoga. And when the nervous system is calm, we know that our immune system is stronger. So there's a direct, science shows a direct correlation between the nervous system and the immune system. So this is a perfect time to do restorative yoga and a really good time to nourish yourself and do self-care. So let's begin in the first pose. We're going to do a supported child's pose, Shavasana. We're going to take the big toes together, knees apart, get a hold of your bolster, bring your bolster in between your legs, and stretch up and over the bolster. So sit back, yeah, just like that. Or you can do it like Missy. So this is really good because we've got two different types of support here. She's got the bolster totally under her. Missy's using the bolster for head support. Just begin to close your eyes and take some deep breaths in. During this class, I'll talk you into your poses, and then I'm going to stay quiet and see if you can start relaxing and releasing. So the whole idea is there is quiet, so that you can maintain your awareness, your breath. Three deep breaths in. See if you can find some breath in the chest, maybe in the belly, where you normally don't feel breath. Good. And exhale out. Belly soft, rib cage soft. Breathing in, breathing out. Typically the eyes close, and with that there is an invitation to bring yourself to the internal. What is going on with you today? Notice your feelings, your sensations, your breath. You can always use couch cushions or any kind of big firm pillows under you, if you don't have access to bolsters. Good. Move yourself up to table. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Your bolster can stay right where it is if you want it to. Okay, tabletop. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. See if you can really get long from tailbone through the crown of the head, a little engagement of the belly, and then start with length, your cat-cows, dropping the belly and chest, lifting the chin, and exhale, rounding the back. Do this a few times with safety, with intention. You're making space in the back body between each vertebra. You're feeling some space, some letting go. Some freedom. Good. Then just come into a neutral back. And maybe Missy can go up into a downward facing dog and Gracie can go into a puppy pose. So Gracie, walk your hands forward and your knees back a little bit. And then shift back into a child's pose. There you go. And you can even spider tip your fingers, Gracie, into puppy. And sink between the shoulders. Maybe you can allow the chest to be into the bolster. Yeah, get the stretch you want. And just breathe here. Take some deep breaths. Missy, you can start bending the knees and just walking out your dog if that feels good. Good. Just breathe. Gracie, pretend like you have something between your shoulders and it's kind of weighting between your shoulders. Good. Good. And then begin to look at your hands and just come onto your seat now. We're just going to move down onto the seat. Gracie, you can move your bolster. And we're going to set up for the first pose. So we're going to take 2 blocks and place them on your mat, stacked as so. Gracie, your feet are going to be facing Missy. So the blocks are going to be way up here, okay, at the top. Missy, your blocks are behind you. And the bolster is going to rest on top of the blocks. And here, this way, here you can take your time to make sure that the bolster is going to be nice and firm. So you can even use more blocks if you want to, but just make sure it's firm enough so it can support you. And then you're going to have 2 more blocks to place under your thighs, where the thighs meet the pelvis. And you're going to bring your soles of your feet together for Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees wide. And then as you lay back, you're going to relax. And I always say, even before you get into this pose, it helps to have a handy-dandy blanket roll that you can put behind the head. So I am going to place this blanket roll behind the head just for support. If that's too much support, let me know. Because when the head and shoulders are really supported, you can even get into a more restorative pose. You'll notice here, if your chin is a lot higher than the forehead, you definitely want more blankets. And you're just going to begin to relax. Notice that everywhere where your back body is touching the bolster, you're getting heavier. Your head and shoulders can totally relax. And then you're sinking and softening. Trust the props to hold you and begin to just let go. And so much of the time, especially now with everything that's going on and with all the stress and tension that we feel, our front bodies become like a suit of armor. And we get harsh and we feel protective and we use coping mechanisms to help us get through the day, which can harden our jaw, harden the rib cage and our bellies and our breathing. So see if during this pose you can begin to work on softening the front body, softening the belly and the rib cage, particularly the jaw, the eyelids. And then just begin to notice the breath. Maybe that's the only thing you're noticing now is the breath. You'll notice maybe thoughts will come and go. Your thoughts might pick up during a restorative practice when you're quiet. Sometimes they get busier. That's totally normal. Any way you experience these practices are your experience, and it's perfectly normal. You just want to guide back to the breath. Use it as the anchor. 3 more breaths in this pose. See if you can once again find that long, lengthy breath. And don't cheat the exhale. Make sure you nudge the breath out to the very end of the exhale, allowing a full, complete inhale. Good. When you're ready, very, very slowly begin to safely come out of the pose. You can plant your feet on the floor if you want to, and maybe do a little windshield wipering with the knees. Thank you, Missy. Gracie, see how Missy's doing that? Maybe you would like to do something different, Gracie. So you can bring your hands and interlace your fingers behind your head and kind of lift your head and shoulders up to a seated position. Good. And at this time, you all are going to move the props off. Move everything but the bolster and leave the bolster kind of vertical. Yeah. Everything but the bolster comes off, and then you're leaving the bolster vertical. So the next pose we're going to do is just a really gentle twist, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to sit, and make sure you have a handy-dandy blanket by you and a handy-dandy block, okay? Very close. And you're going to take your left hip and place it against the bolster, flush up against the bottom of the bolster, left hip. Okay, and you're going to look at the bolster and begin to think length as you come up and over the bolster. So you're going to twist up and over, and then scissor your knees in a way that would feel really good, maybe more 90 degrees, and then take a block and place it between your legs, just to give your SI joint a little bit of rest. Or you can do it the way Missy's doing it, okay? So I just want you to get into a position that feels really good. If you want a large twist of the head and neck, you're going to turn your head in the opposite direction of your knees. That is certainly not necessary, but you might like that. So both these people are choosing to keep their head in the same direction of their knees, which personally I think is a little more restorative. Because the whole idea is you want to get into a position of comfort. Not that you can fall asleep, but that you are so comfortable that you could deeply let go and get into total restoration. You don't want to be holding anything. I like to tell people to move the elbows down a little closer to the waist, just to give your shoulders a little break, a little more break. And there you go. You don't have to hold so much shoulder to ear, but instead let your shoulders go. Let your neck relax. If you need something under your head, do that. And just kind of take the time to get really comfortable. If you need another prop, get another prop. If you want to take something away, take it away. We're going to take a big deep breath here. We're going to hold this for about 3 minutes on each side. And what this does is it gives a gentle twist to the spine. It brings new blood into the spine and helps with circulation and just overall movement of lymph and all things that are healing. Maybe you can even feel, once you're here, breath in the belly, because you are compromising your position a little bit. You might feel breath a little differently, maybe in the back body a little bit, or breath where you normally don't feel breath. And slowly begin to allow your eyes to open, maybe move the block that's between the legs. And you're going to move to the other side very slowly. Make sure that before, Gracie, you get there, make sure that you kind of look at and see how long you can get through the front body. Very good. Good. Get as comfortable as you can. That way you can really find the length that the spine needs in this pose. And then support yourself with either a block between your knees if you want to, or a blanket, whichever feels good. Make sure your head and shoulders again are really, really relaxed and feel good. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, get heavier. And see if you can practice tuning out and just trying to do a little of nothing. Instead of always trying to go into the fix and change, you're just instead doing nothing. Unplugging. Just watch the breath. If you're noticing any tension left somewhere, like the jaw or the shoulders, the hips, wherever, see if you can soften any part of the body that might still feel tension. About 3 more breaths on this side. When you're ready, you can use your hands and use your extremities to lift you up off the bolster. And we're going to move the bolster now under our knees and do what I call floating body rest. So in this pose, you're just trying to disrupt some of the patterns of tension that we hold in our upper body. You're going to open very gently the chest area. So you're going to take the rolled blanket and place it like maybe right behind your T12 or mid-back. So I'm going to take that, yes, really like that. Good, Racy, good. And then you're just going to lay back on it. Yeah. Make sure your arms come up in front of the blanket. And your arms can be in a T position. Yes, you can even have them in two different ways. You can place a hand on the belly and a hand on the chest. Maybe one of you wants to do that, and the other one wants to do goddess arms. Arms in like a goalpost might be a little more, a bigger way to open. You can take your pick which way. And I'm just going to place this blanket behind your head just to give you some extra, okay? Always a good idea to support the head and neck in restorative. So it's a gentle opening. Once again, you're softening the front and back body. In this pose, I invite you now to just allow yourself to get as heavy as you can. And practice maybe an extended exhalation. Just a few times. See if you can exhale a little longer than the inhale. This extended exhalation stimulates the vagus nerve, which helps parasympathetic response, which is our rest and digest response. Gets us into a more relaxed state quicker. And then just stop manipulating breath now. Just be. If thoughts and noise are still competing for attention, you're just lovingly, compassionately moving back to your breath. It's all normal, all typical. You're just moving back to your breath in the moment to moment. 3 more breaths. Begin to slowly bring maybe your knees into your chest, if that would feel good, very gently. And just give yourself a hug. It might feel good to take the blanket from under your back. Move that blanket from under your back. Yeah, just move it away. Just give yourself a hug and rock side to side on the low back. And make it nourishing. Notice which part of the back needs what. Is it more the upper back or the lower back? Just kind of rock side to side. Good. Good. It might feel good to move the bolster out of the way, Gracie. Plant your feet, everybody, and go into a little bit of a bridge pose. And you can make this very restorative by placing a block. Gracie, why don't you take a block and place it under your hips? Missy, if you want to use a block, you can or not. Just place it on the lowest part. Yeah. And make sure the block is low enough. Gracie, you place it on the low part. Good, that's good. Make sure it's low enough so that you feel like you're happy. Your hips can be happy and you don't want to feel any pinching or anything that doesn't feel good, and you can just remain here for a few breaths. See if you can just notice the breath. See if you can soften where the pelvis and the upper thigh meet. That hip crease, soften there twice as much. Allow it to just drop and soften so that you can really make this restorative. We're just going to hold this now for just about a minute. This pose is great for adding space in the low back. It can be a very restorative pose for the hips. And then go ahead and remove the block. And we're going to go into a Shavasana. If you want to do a little Supta Baddha Konasana, bring the soles of your feet together for a moment, just to allow the hips to relax. You can be here, if that's comfortable for you, for just a few breaths. Just allowing the spine to elongate. And then Shavasana. So maybe one of you could practice a traditional Shavasana and the other could do legs up the wall. And I think that's a good way to end in Shavasana, with legs up the wall. So if you want Missy to do legs up the wall, that would be great. Gracie, if you want to take the bolster and place it under your knees, just for extra support for Shavasana, that would be great. It's good to have something for your head. I think one of them is enough. And go ahead and come back. Is that good? And I'm going to take the strap and just place it over the legs here, just to give you some extra support so that you can just let the legs go. So a lot of times straps can be a way to support the legs enough so that you don't have to hold anything at all. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out and totally relax. So in this inversion, you're allowing the lymph to flow downward and toxins to move down And it's very restorative, very good for the body and circulation, etc., and lymph. So this is a great way to just detox and relax. You can actually elevate your relaxation. And then just begin to, in this Shavasana, maybe find a brief meditation on a word that you can use as intentional as you move throughout your week. Maybe the word could be peacefulness or easefulness. And intentions can actually be heartfelt and breathed in with the inhale. So you're just breathing in your intention, your word. Maybe it's refuge, because refuge isn't a place, it's something within you, deep inside you. And you can kind of think of that as your peaceful place or your anchor. Maybe it's just simply breath and easefulness. Getting some small movements to your fingers and toes. Begin to notice the breath again a little deeper. And you can rock your head side to side. Make any movements that would feel like you're slowly waking. Move the strap away. Maybe pull the knees into your chest if that would feel good. Or maybe bring the arms up overhead for a stretch if that would feel good. Big stretch in. Sometimes it feels good to rock to a fetal pose. Gracie, you want to rock to a fetal pose for a moment and take a breath or two. And then come up to your comfortable seat. When you're ready, just face me, Gracie. Sit in Sukhasana, easy seat. Let's bring our hands to prayer center. And just notice how we feel. We'll end the practice with an Om. Deep breath in through the nose. Bring thumbs to the third eye center. All in peace, all in gratitude, we say together, Namaste.